Sir, tell us how the combined entity, the shape and size changes and becomes bigger. Talk to us about the new entity which takes shape now.
Good afternoon. Punjab National Bank got merged with what you call Oriental Bank of Commerce and United Bank of India effective from today. And a combined entity has more than 11,000 branches across the country, more than 13,000 ATMs, and covering a business of more than little over 18 lakh crore. It is the second largest public sector bank after State Bank of India in the country currently. And there are a lot of activities which we have been doing ever since the decision came on 30th of August 2019. Pre-migration and amalgamation related activities have been properly handled in order to see that the amalgamation from today becomes very effective one. But for the COVID impact, for social distancing and lockout which has been declared up to April 14th, the physical meetings and interactions with the customers which we have planned could not take place. But nevertheless, once this has been lifted, we would be undertaking after the lockdown is completed. Otherwise, from today, the three banks together are working as one entity, that is Punjab National Bank.
Right. Mr. Mallikarjuna, talk to us about how much time will it take for synergies to kick in with this new entity, OBC, United Bank and PNB together? How much time will you see, benefits of synergies start kicking in your financials? And also what kind of rationalization will lead to these savings and perhaps much more enhanced profits also going forward?
Right. When you talk about the amalgamation synergy, one is the business layer which is required to be done. Now already what we have done is the processes and the products and services have already been harmonized and they have been implemented across the three banks from today. So since today it is only one bank, they have been implemented. Technology wise, until the migration takes place into the database of Punjab National Bank, the technology pieces will be working differently till the migration takes place. So we are expecting the technology migration to be completed as per the time plan in anything between 6 months to 9 months. The Infosys and all other vendors are working hard on that. But as far as the customer is concerned, there would not be any difference. They will have uniformity in enjoying their facilities with respect to liability or assets, in terms of the pricing, in terms of the interest rates, in terms of the charges, everything is harmonized. Now with respect to what advantage we derive as a merged entity, as a bigger bank, is that the bank will have more risk appetite in terms of lending to bigger projects. Number one, that is a great advantage. Earlier, bigger projects, when they were taking lending from the banks, the number of banks used to be 10, 8 or 12 like that. Whereas today, after the amalgamation across the banking industry in the public sector space, 2-3 banks would be sufficient for them to take care of their lending requirements, particularly for the larger projects. That is one great advantage which comes to the economy. Second, over a period of time, we have seen that the cost of updation of technology, the cost of using technology for compliance, the cost of using technology for risk governance framework has been pretty high. As such, individually banks, when they were small, it was difficult for them to invest to get a return out of that and comply to the requirements. Whereas today, as a merged entity, as a bigger bank, it would be advantageous to invest in those technologies and create a robust framework from the risk management angle for all these banks. That is another advantage. That means the edifice of the bank can be prepared more strongly in the merged entity with all the tools available, whether using technology or best practices being followed by various other banks. With respect to customers across the country, they will have an advantage of the brand which has got a wonderful franchise across the country. Now, if you look at specifically for Punjab National Bank, East and Northeast, our presence was very limited, whereas with the amalgamation of United Bank of India, which has got a larger franchise in East and Northeast, will give an advantage to us. It is not only a franchisee of branch network or customer base, but also CASA base. If you remember, United Bank has a CASA base of 50% of the entire liability. That is an advantage for us. With respect to Oriental Bank of Commerce, even though we both are in the same geography, the kind of clientele base Oriental Bank has got is an advantage for PNB. So the synergies for this particular merger, where OBC and United Bank are merged with Punjab National Bank, are going to play a wonderful role in the next few days to come. To look at the real benefits, how they would accrue, I am expecting it to happen effectively from 1st of October onwards.
Right. Mr. Rao, let's shift focus from this big transaction which is coming to effect to the environment we are operating in. And RBI, of course, the regulator, has come out with a slew of relief measures. How do you see the environment right now, next couple of months in particular? How feeble do you see credit growth for the sector fall to? And what is your sense of being a banker for such a long time? This is one of its kind. There's no precedence to this environment, but how bad is the situation in your reading of the economy?
Correct. See, let us discuss about in two parts. One part is prior to COVID-19, another part is post COVID-19. Prior to COVID-19 as well, the economy has been subdued, if you have seen in the last 1 year from April or even couple of years. The credit growth, which was there at 13% in the beginning, later on it has rappelled down to around 11%, and when last RBI has declared in the month of January, it was around 6.47. That is just before the impact of the COVID-19 in our country, though it has impacted elsewhere little earlier than that. Now, after the impact has come, it is one of its kind which was never imagined, which was never seen earlier as well. So we will have to look at in isolation rather than looking at from the different perspective. Even in January, when the credit growth was 6.47, as a banker, we were seeing little amount of a green shoots in the economy, where we were expecting that the investments from the private party as well as from the government in infrastructure was planning to happen. You can recall to the finance minister's statement where 1,02,000 crores was in the pipeline for investment in infrastructure. Now, coming back to the impact of COVID, we hope that the impact would be short-lived, and now the lockdown is there up to April 14th. We are expecting the normalcy. After that, at least by 15th of May, we expect the normalcy to come down, but for any extension in time otherwise. And we see that from July 1st onwards, again, slowly the economy will start limping towards positivity.
Right. Mr. Rao, just one last question on the MSME sector, the medium and small enterprises. They are the ones on the receiving end. We are getting a lot of sense that payments perhaps will not be happening in time. They are cash starved. Working capital remains a big issue for them. They are the real, lifeline of the economy. What are your thoughts on what kind of impact would they have, and as this larger entity takes shape, how would you reach out to them and kind of help them?
Right. MSME, if you look at, there are main three elements. One element is the marketing level. That means for them to manufacture the goods and sell to the their customers and get the money back. The operating cycle after manufacturing and getting the cash flow back was an issue which has been there for the last 2-3 years. Otherwise, if you look at the funding requirement, there was no problem from the bankers, though the funding completely depends upon the marketing capability of the MSME. MSME per se themselves cannot create market for them, because like larger corporates who create a market for them, MSME cannot do it. We have seen that many of the state governments have taken initiative in creating a marketability for the products of the MSME, and they have been doing better than what it was there, but for the impact of COVID, what is created now. Coming from the banker's perspective, the cost of lending has come down drastically. If you remember, as per the RBI guidelines, micro and small enterprises interest rates were linked to repo based, effective from 1st of October 2019, and from 1st of April today onwards, even medium enterprises lending rates are also linked to repo. With a drastic reduction of 75 basis points, the rate reduction has been automatically passed on to those MSME borrowers. As a result, cost of borrowing from the banks for MSME is a very prime position at this point of time. They don't have any issue as far as the cost of borrowing is concerned, but the problem related to cash flow, which that is their receivables realization is an area government is also working hard. In the recent times, government has taken a decision to ask all their departments also if there is any pendency to make the payments immediately. It is an ongoing correction exercise or working towards the betterment of the MSMEs. Banks also will work. I am expecting that as a banker, after May end, once this COVID impact is cleared, we could see some better position for the MSMEs in the manufacturing as well as in the services sector.
Right. All right, Mr. Rao, we'll let you go on that one. Thank you very much for your time, and good luck for the road ahead of the new entity. That was